I think we just have to start recognizing that Twitter is not journalism. It's like part of the process of information gathering. But journalism, in my mind, is like not just the gathering, but then the synthesizing and the presentation of that information.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody's saying that Twitter is journalism, though, are they? I mean,
well, you hear a lot about, journalism's dead and this kind of stuff. And maybe I'm doing like a little bit of a Twitter boogeyman thing, and that's probably obnoxious. But I just, I don't think that the problem is like, I think the problem can be solved, or not solved, but sort of viewed through a different lens if your expectations are right about what information you're getting from where.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point that you make, Finesse.
Oh.
What a provocative subject for our first live radio show.
Is this our first discussion of terrorism ever?
This is a really, really heavy subject matter for this blog, I have to tell you.
I know. Well, look, we have actually 45 minutes of broadcasting time we're allowed to do, so if you want to talk about this for another 13 minutes and 44 seconds, we can do it.
What else is on your mind?
A lot of stuff. What do you think about the Steelers matching the offer for Emmanuel Sanders?
Well, I think that if they really think that they're going to contend this year, great move. I think there may be a little bit of denial happening in that organization at this point, because I do not think that they're a contending team as currently constituted. And I think that the wise thing would have been to take the third-round draft choice. The immediately gratifying thing was to match the offer, and I'm sure Big Ben is thrilled.
Right. It's a tough situation because you have no other options at receiver if you let Sanders go. But you also have no options at receiver if Sanders pulls his hamstring in the first game. Like, this team is not very good. There's not a lot of great players on the team.
I mean, I guess one way to think about it is you can't rebuild as long as Ben is the quarterback. You just have to retool as best you can and try to compete every year. Try to get to the playoffs with Ben.
Yeah, but the pressure is seriously on this year to have a really good draft. Because a lot of the guys that the Steelers are counting on, I'm not sure that they're great. And they need to be great.
Yeah,
Jason
I agree.
Worlds.
I agree completely.
If he's just good, the Steelers are going to go 7-9 or 8-8. The running backs are not very good. Antonio Brown has not proven that he's a number one receiver by any stretch. He had one really good year when he was next to Mike Wallace, when Mike Wallace was having a really good year too.
What do you think is going to happen the first time James Harrison comes to Heinz Field in a Bengals uniform? Just how does it unfold?
I think at this point in his career, he is at the point where his strategy is to run directly into the left tackle and then fall backwards and act like he's being held and try to draw a holding call because he's not getting to the quarterback. That's what I think.
Is it possible that he will pump himself so full of HGH that he'll come to Pittsburgh and he'll just rain terror down on the Steelers?
Who are you to come on this podcast and insinuate that anybody on the Steelers would ever use performing enhancing drugs?
You're right.
Next
I'm out of line.
You know, you're going to come on this podcast and say that the Steelers in the 70s were all juiced up on steroids.
I would never say such a thing. I just say that about James Harrison because he seems really angry. Seems like he might have a bit of a vendetta, and he's like 47 years old.
Right, and his head is pretty big, pretty enormous.
Right.
Well, just because we have 10 minutes left doesn't mean we have to use it all.
No, I don't think we do. I think we're pretty well tapped out, but that was fun. And so what does this mean? Are we going to do this every week, or are we going to do it just starting the playoffs? What's our plan here?
Well, we don't have to do it live every week until the playoffs, but I'd like to do it live after every playoff game.
Did this even record? Do we know if it even recorded?
It says it is. It says we're on air right now. I know people are listening. I'm going to check our Twitter. All right, this is going to be tough. Are you sitting down? Nobody has written in any questions on Twitter. I I know you were expecting
they're holding
great
their
things.
questions. I respect that. Just
Yeah.
hold your questions, people. There's no hurry.
Yeah, hold them. We'll answer them all at once. Maybe next
We'll
week.
get to them in due course.
Right. Maybe we'll write some questions this week, give them to you to ask to us, and we'll answer them on the next one.
All right. Well, that was fun. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Until next time, GTOG.